Hello, Rusty. We are back.
Josh, how are you?
I am great. How are you?
Yeah, we're here. We're here. We've been over to the US for a trade show, and we are now back.
Back into the swing of it all.
We both got sick, and we're both still to some degree recovering.
Yeah, about 90%.
I'm about 40, it feels like, but here we are. We managed to get good enough to get in front of some microphones, or not good enough, but back to our normal operating level.
Decided to do something.
Decided to do something and share some experiences, and we've a lot has been going on.
It has.
We wouldn't have recorded one of these for.
This is the first podcast of 2023.
Yeah, right. All the others were prior.
They were.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, there we go. Excellent. Well, let's kick it off with some gin because it is late and I'm thirsty. And
we have Laquat. I don't know.
What did you call me?
Laquat. Right. Looking a bit Laquat today.
Thanks. I'm feeling very Laquat. Laquat.
This is our monthly subscription from DeYoung's.
From Old Youngs.
Old Youngs.
What'd you call them?
DeYoung's. I need one. That's
Laquat from DeYoung's. I think that's probably what's going on there. Yeah, okay. Oh, thank you very much,
I
sir.
thought I'd be nice and pour.
I had coffee liqueur in that glass earlier. So.
I can see it just stirring up at the bottom.
Yeah, I like how you gave yourself quite a bit more than I got. Top me back up. Don't leave me out of this. All right, very good. Let's get these tonic. Well, Coastal Tonic.
Yes.
Coastal Tonic.
It's been a while since I've had some Coastal Tonic.
Yeah, right. A little bit salty, this one. There you go. I'll stop you.
Yeah, I'll do your swap.
You got the thing. I had this combination the other night. It's all right. It's a little bit salty, but it'll do. Very good. Well, Josh, you hang on. Let's have a sip of this.
Oh, all of mine fits.
You got a bigger glass than me, but who's judging? Right. Let's.
I just got all the bubbles in my eye.
Jelly drinks go in your mouth, mate. I'm not sure how you've changed since we've been to the States. Maybe it's a Northern Hemisphere thing.
I don't mind that combo.
Yeah.
It is a little salty.
It is a little salty. How was your first trip overseas, mate?
It was overall taking the sickness part out of it.
Yep.
It was really good.
Good.
It was really good.
Good.
It was really good.
That's the most positive you've been about it since we.
It is
since we got back.
I've tried to sort of think about it. I'm trying to separate the whole. Cool, you got really sick.
One, getting sick, and two, some big delays on getting over there. 12 hours of seeing an airport.
We ignore them.
Yep.
But the actual once we were there doing all the bits and pieces, it was a very, very cool experience.
Very good. So a little recap for those because there's been a couple of episodes that have gone up out of that we had pre-recorded. So we went for a trade show. We went to do some coverage on trade show for businesses that I own, for some other third-party work, and it was a trade show. It was lots of exhibitors, lots of people who didn't really want to talk to you, a bunch of people who did, a bunch of people who were happy to talk to you, a lot of people you had to convince you wanted to get on camera, and so everything in between. From a content part of things, it was we had the best intentions.
Yep. And
we got there with most of them.
We did.
But we had some challenges. Do you want to talk about some of the technical challenges early on?
Yeah, so we, I guess, jumping away a little bit, we had planned to, because the time zones worked out quite well for us in that we could film during the morning, get to about lunchtime where we were, dump a whole heap of footage, and the guys back here would be just rolling into work.
Yep.
So they'd just be rolling into freshly dumped footage.
Yes.
The theory behind that was amazing. The practice of that didn't work out.
Initially.
The first day we got there, we couldn't get onto the.
They had Wi-Fi
issues
at the show.
We couldn't do anything there. So I was like, all right. I think I ended up trying to I started doing a bit of an edit on one of the videos.
Well, you'd actually started uploading some stuff when we got back to the hotel because day one we actually had a practical day first up, and I think you got back to the hotel and you were trying to upload all this footage, and we just thought the hotel Wi-Fi was slow, which is odd in America and not something I'd experienced in Vegas before. The internet Wi-Fi was always never stellar, but better than my home internet here.
Yeah, so what we were, because we run a NAS at work, what we were trying to do was to make it really seamless of a workflow. Yep. We would upload directly to that NAS, and then for the guys coming in, there was no change to their workflow.
Yep.
It would just be like we filmed here and dumped with an SD card.
Yep.
Unknown at that point in time, that was a bit of an issue. So, tried uploading. I think we got a bare minimum amount of stuff
Very little.
very little. They managed to make it work with what they had, but yeah, that took us on to the next day. And the next day we actually got onto the Wi-Fi at the venue.
Yep.
And we got back to the hotel, and yeah, same thing on both locations.
So at this point, there was one video we really wanted out.
Yeah.
And so you edited it.
Yes. And that went really well.
On that particular channel, that's the best video that's ever, in terms of like the fastest growth rate by a long way, by like tenfold.
Yeah. Yeah, not just it was a little bit better. Yeah. It was exponential growth in the first 12 hours.
And it was because we got it so credit to you, just staying up late and getting that one done. And then at some point you guys worked out that if you use Dropbox as an interim, it was actually a lot quicker.
Yes. Yeah, the upload process was much better. So that made things very messy in terms of where files were and everything.
Yep.
But I think that first little period was just dump stuff. The next day I went, all right, I'm going to be a lot more thoughtful here. And I sat down, spent 40 minutes to an hour just like, all right, I'm going to pre-sort this because I've got all the context. I know what we filmed, where we filmed it.
Yep.
For me sorting through it, it's going to be 10 times quicker than the guys back here. So they then just got folders of, all right, this is this product. That it's all in one folder. That's all you need. This is that. And I think that made, from getting back from that, the guys were pumping them out because it was just, cool, here's a folder, done. Move on. Here's a folder, done.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yes. So overcame it.
And lessons learned for next time.
Yeah. But it achieved a bunch of videos and all that sort of gear. Which was good.
Yeah.
I had a note that I will go to my notes and ask you because I've completely forgotten which note it was. Yeah. One of the focuses you'd set last time as well was concise footage.
Yes.
So being, I think we talked about it last time, we often will have these cameras in here running for a bit because it might capture some fun stuff we say or as we pre-launch the show or anything along those lines. As we get ready for that sort of gear, we will have that running. But then that leads to a bit of more footage, bigger file sizes, bit longer to go through them, that sort of gear. When we're dealing with sending file sizes back and also time is super of the essence in that instance, you were going to be more concise. How did you go with that focus?
It got better as the trip went along.
Okay, interesting.
And there was a number of factors in that. So the first time was running around, I think the first 2 days we were running around with a monopod.
Yep.
Which led to sort of capturing camera footage just with one camera, which, is fine, but it is a little different to how we normally do things because we generally, when you're dealing with a product, we will film with a camera on a tripod, capturing the action.
Presenting what's going on.
And you're getting that straight to camera. And then off the side, we'll be filming with another camera that's much more punched in to get those details. One, it's good to get the details nice and close on whatever they're dealing with, and it breaks it up, makes the video much more interesting. So we delved into the third day, and we actually sort of were going around with a tripod.
Yep.
And that made things much easier. And in this process, I'd also switched the files that I was recording in. So rather than filming at 60 frames a second, because that's better for when you're dealing with moving things, went, okay, we're having upload issues. One of the big factors in that is file size.
Yep.
If you're filming at 24 frames compared to 60 frames, the file size is going to be double, if not more.
Yep.
So jumping back to that. But overall, from start to finish, being more concise with things went pretty well because it was, all right, I'm going to capture, record at the start.
Yep.
Even the same with the microphones, because we can leave the microphones on and it records everything.
Yep.
It'll basically record all day, but then you have a 8-hour audio file, and that's not fun to go through.
No, I bet.
So tried very hard to go, all right, turn it off, turn it back on. That's it. That's your in point, out point, done.
Okay.
And that was the same with when we introduced that second camera. It was start at the start, at the end, none of these extras, and capture what you need, not, this shot might be cool. This shot might be cool. No, you've got the shot you need.
Yep.
When you're dealing with time-sensitive stuff, maybe you have to sacrifice that creativity just a little bit to gain the relevancy.
Sure.
That's not the right way to say it, but
okay.
But while it's still relevant, you want it out.
Yeah, gotcha.
Rather than spending an extra day in the edit process, it's better to get it out while people are interested. They're keen.
Yep.
Let them see what you've created. They're probably not interested in that shot that you were like, yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah.
They're probably not really going to care.
Absolutely. And in this instance, in this trade show, if you got the first video of that product to market, it did well, which we found.
Yes.
So, yeah, and that happens on day one for some of them, and then as you start putting it out, you're the second, third, fourth, 30th person to do a video on that product. It's good, but it's not as great. So
that excitement does dwindle.
yeah, I've already seen this one. Yeah, that sort of thing. So that was good. What would you do differently in that instance?
In terms of being concise or just overall?
Overall, for a trade show, so if you're going to go film a trade show, and so I'll give you the context that the companies we were doing work for, suppliers of theirs were at the show, launching products, doing that sort of things.
Yep.
So with that in mind, trying to capture that sort of footage, one thing that we did talk about trying to do, and we didn't because there was too much new stuff to cover, we talked about getting a lot of evergreen content.
Yep.
And we didn't do anywhere near as much, if much at all, of that.
We did very minimal.
Because there was so many new products to cover that actually kept us busy the whole time. And so that stuff's the hot topic stuff. So
yeah. I think to do another one, from a practical side of things, I would lighten up some of the gear.
Okay. Yep.
Because when you're doing 5 days, that's a lot of time walking around. I think I was walking around with about 7.5 worth of camera gear on me.
Yes.
And I think that can be trimmed down a bit. That can be lightened up just from a stress on your body and just your mind. You walk around with a camera for 7.5 hours.
Yeah.
It takes a toll on you.
It does. Saw that.
the tripod.
And I've been there as well. So
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway,
The running around with a monopod is great. But yeah, trying to up the production value, also make it super easy to use.
You're saying the monopod's the wrong compromise?
I think the monopod was a wrong compromise for that situation.
Okay. Would that be different? So if you were to run one camera, would you have gone the monopod?
Yep. So if it was one camera, it would be the monopod.
Yeah, because so I've done this show many times, but by myself. And the first year we took a tripod. We took a fairly big tripod. Yep. And then the second year and third year I took monopod. Yep. But that was only one camera. And so this year, it's interesting to hear you sway the other way, but for valid reason. Yeah.
Yeah. But if I was to do a trade show now, I would still, because we have 2 cameras, I would still take 2 cameras and I would take a tripod to get that static shot and that B-roll supporting footage.
Perfect. Okay, cool.
In terms of improving some things, I'd probably try and communicate a little bit more with the client that you're trying to capture content for, because this proved not a major pain, but it was a little bit of a hassle in, I guess, the client we were dealing with, there is parent companies and things can get a bit messy. So trying to...
There was a lack of communication that carried on, and it wasn't particularly their fault, but it was just present. It was present, yeah. So it was difficult to know what to capture.
Yeah.
And then I said, make sure you get this product. They didn't have that product there.
Yeah. Yeah. And trying to get someone and like, but no, that's not me. I don't do that. And it's like, but you're on the stand just here to talk about it. Whether, you maybe if that's approaching them slightly different to just be like, hey, can you give us a quick little thing about this product? They'd be like, oh yeah, sure. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. So
things to try for next time.
That would be good. I think, we didn't pre-organize too many places. Most places were pretty happy to do something with us.
Yep.
There's probably a few things where I would have liked to have sourced some stock footage from these companies. So some of them do like thermals and cameras and this and that, to be able to source some of that footage from them, which they probably have, to be able to then put into our videos would have been more beneficial. That would have been a good lesson. A couple of companies offered that stuff.
Yeah, we got a couple of cards.
Yeah, so it would be good to have dropped that into a few of ours.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and it takes a little bit of the onus off you to try and, spice the video up, make it interesting. You're just like, oh, cool, they've already got that. Drop that in. Perfect.
Yeah, so that was good. one little take we did on it, we took Vegemite because we're in America. Vegemite is unusual to them, and we took that around and got a whole stack of them to try it. That created a great sort of off-topic but interesting, relevant video that has actually performed extremely well and has had a lot of feedback from it, and is good fun, light-hearted take on it. So having something, I think it created a point of difference for our videos that we made to others that went to the show. That it was, and we've always tried to do it in some manner where we know what these traditional trade show type videos are always going to be. Someone at a stand talking about the product they just launched. Pretty standard.
Yeah.
This created another dynamic of the sort of a background, and the people that we in our videos then also appeared in this other one. So it sort of tied a few of them together.
Even for them, it was probably nice to have something breaking up the day of, hey, can we film this other thing that's got nothing to do with your product? You don't have to just rinse and repeat.
You just have to eat something stupid that you will not like.
So, have some yeast.
Yeah, pretty much. Mr. Yeast. We should have got Mr. Yeast shirts. Anyway, that's another thing.
From a business side of the view, business side of the view?
No,
sure. Not that. From the business side of things, how was the show for you?
It was very good. I mean, trade shows can be very good if you make the most of them. From a content point of view, we got a lot of content, which was really good. And I think there was an element of the stuff we were doing for my businesses outside of Captivating Attention, because we both were unwell, more so you. We took the pressure off trying to get that content out and done immediately. We did a bunch of it, particularly early on. We put the focus on the third-party stuff, trying to get that focus because we don't want to let them down. And so we probably didn't get stuff out as quickly as I would hoped. Yeah. Which has been sort of rectified now, but there is reasons why. And I could have just, sucked it up a bit harder and actually, led it a little bit more and done that. Is my call to make, and I chose to go that way. But for the third party side of things, we had the stuff ready while we were at the show, still to be viewed and looked after and be able to be sent out if chosen. Yeah. So that was probably one little thing that a little bit more. This is the most organised we've been for this particular show, and it was great because we got way more done than we ever have done previously. But we were at that 90% mark. We prepared really well, and then our deployment was good. It's probably, again, the best we've ever had it, but there was room for growth there.
Yes, so, 100%.
Yeah, I think that if we to do it again, I think there's a few changes in scheduling I'd make, and I think we'd probably actually take the mornings off the show a little bit more. Yep. I think we'd start a little bit later. We'd try and get the show around 11, but then go hard till 5, and then spend a bit of time, knowing often the dinners and stuff like that socially are 6 o'clock. So you're not going to get a time after the show to do anything. So do that, and sort of just structure it a little bit differently. Yep. So then in the morning you can wrap up from the day before, perhaps a little bit more.
Yeah, I guess especially for next time, there's that element of being able to get back, knowing that we can overcome some of the upload issues we had.
Yeah, they were frustrating. Yeah, they were frustrating.
If that had been a bit different, we could, you can finish up at 5 o'clock, get back to the hotel, quickly freshen up,
upload,
have everything uploading while you're out, and then that time in the morning is everything's been done, and you are reviewing footage to go, cool, post.
Yeah, I think that would have been good. So anyway, a few changes for future, but overall I think it was good. So we often like to run a hypothetical scenario here about some thoughts and advice and bits and pieces we would have. So we thought we'd keep it trade show relevant this time. So Josh, let's say someone came to us for a trade show, US or here or wherever, and their goal for the trade show is how to get as many people to their stand, because we saw both ends of this spectrum. We saw stands that were flat out the entire time, had people all the time in the stands, and stands there were stands that had left by Thursday afternoon with a day and a half of the show to go because they just weren't getting visitors.
Yes. Yeah, quite a difference.
Because one of them I went to visit and they're like, they bailed yesterday. They were really quiet. Okay. So is there anything that you would suggest, you saw, you can think of that could help bring people to the stand?
I think there's the building a hype, especially if if you're releasing a new product or you have a flagship product, whatever it is that you're wanting people to come and see, it's probably a month to 2-week period beforehand of trying to build some hype, trying to build that hype around your product, whether that's a couple of photos here, a couple of videos here, whatever your capacity is sitting at the time, and then in that week prior to the show, putting a really focused effort into the push of that, of like, hey, we're going to be here, come and check out this aspect of it. And I think from this show in particular, hitting up creators, I think that would be a big element if I was trying to build hype for something, would be, all right, there's a lot of creators going to this. There's a lot of attention around it. Who can, just spend the day, send all the messages out of like, hey, come and check this out. Hey, come and check this out. Try and get some of those guys to your booth and leverage their pages.
Now, let me clarify what you're saying, because it could be similar to what I'm going to go down the path of, but I think it actually is different. You're suggesting the people that are walking around with cameras creating content, you'd be like, hey, look, we're happy to give you an interview and give you information and talk to you about this product if you're willing to come past. That's the angle you're going?
That's one of the angles, but also like film something with them.
Yeah.
Like film something with them that you can tag them in, you can leverage that, because, you get some of your people that following along going, oh, yeah, I go and follow that person as well. You get that connection with them of like, yeah, I follow them too. Yeah, no, I want to go check this out now.
Yep. Cool. Good.
All
right.
What would you do?
What would I do? So I've seen a few things work, and I've got a few different ideas, right? So it really depends, and this is with everything, what your business is about, right? Because some businesses, we got some sexy new product that everyone's heard of, that everyone wants to go and come and see, right? That's an easy sell. You basically have that product there and away you go. You kill it. There are other guys, and we spoke with a few at this particular show, they've got that product that no one's heard of their company. They've got a really, really good product.
Yes.
But no one's heard of them. And so they hope they can have an interesting enough stand that people walk past and be like, what is that, right? And we got one of these ones which ended up being Australian products in the US that we sort of walked past and went, what is that? And then heard the accent and went, we're staying here.
Yeah.
But we would have stayed there without the accent. It was very interesting. But there was one of the people I met sort of out one of the bars and went to their stand, and it was a pretty standard stand. There's nothing too flamboyant about it or anything along those lines. But their goal, from what I understood, 1 or 2 deals made for them, and the week was worth it, right? It wasn't, we want 30 people, 40, 50 people. So if their focus was going to other stands, shaking hands, seeing for opportunity, meeting people, they had to have a stand so they could be present.
Yeah.
And then most of these trade shows have some clause where you can't solicit business, like just come along and you've got to sort of have a
stand. Yeah.
And so there's an element of that. And then so for that sort of business, they don't need people to come to their stand because they're not necessarily a big public-facing company or something. They need to close a couple of deals with the right people. So they're probably better off at 5 o'clock when the show finishes going to the correct bar or getting invited to this dinner or that is where they're
after hours networking.
Yeah, exactly right. So in that element, being able to sort of know where the places are, do some research on the show, there often is a bar that may not be the public, like the show sponsored, and this is the instance in this, the show sponsored event that you should go to network with people. There is literally the closest bar and the closest casino that everyone walks past. That's the bar.
Yeah.
And that bar will be busy from 5 o'clock, actually probably busy from 3 o'clock when people get sick of the show and walk out there, through to 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
That I can attest to. It could be busy further, but I can say it will be busy till that time. And so that is, you would almost to some degree, do you know what? I'm going to be there for 6 hours each night.
Yeah,
and I'm just going to chat with people.
Do the rounds.
So that doesn't actually resolve the problem. But just keeping in mind, the big question is like, what is important to your business of being there? So one of the things that I have seen work extremely well, is creators or influencers or whatever word you wish to assign them, appearing at your stand.
Yes.
Right? So rather than, inviting them to come along is excellent, absolutely. But actually having you need a reason for. So if your stand is the type of stand you want to get people there, you need a reason for them to come there.
Yeah.
Right. And for some stands, giving value is the key thing. Right, giving some sort of value that they can't get elsewhere. So a couple of years ago, at this particular show, one of the guys have got a big YouTube channel. He's a Demolition Ranch, if you've heard of it. They're 11, 10 million followers, something like that. And plus they've got multiple channels as well and stuff. So he was coming, and I actually had a meeting at this stand just before, and I'm like, what are all these people like? There's a lot of, you guys are lining up for meetings or something? And then someone told me, oh, Matt from this channel is going to be there. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, that's cool. Well, that's working.
That makes sense.
These people were on that stand for a good 40 minutes waiting, and they were at all the stands around. Like it worked well. So having that was, and I've seen this time, like we walked past some stands and it's just like a mass of people, and you're like, I don't know who that is, but obviously they're worth being here for, because there is literally and I've seen lines of 100 people waiting to go and have a photo with a particular person. Now, there's always an argument of well, do they know your product? And that's up to you to then engage them. You've ticked the box for people to come to your stand.
Yep.
Now, if you just let them line up, take a photo with this celebrity or influencer or whatever, and then wander off, that's on you for not having engaged them. Being able to strategically make them walk through your booth, right? Is an
have the line go a certain way.
So they're actually looking at your products and stuff, and then engaging with people in that line to do so. But that's a little bit out of the scope of what we're talking about. So that has been something. The other one that I've seen is guys giving away coffee or samples, or they're having a reason to come to your stand. So for one of the stands, and we didn't go this time around actually, but they at 4:00 they have beer. Right. And you have to, it's one of those things, you get given a pass to come back and do that. So if they have a good chat with you over the course of the show, they're like, hey, here's one of the VIP passes, 4:00, you show them that and you'll get beers.
Yes.
Right. It's funny because you see not many people will walk up, grab the beer and leave. Mm-hmm. Most people feel compelled to sort of stay and chat a little bit and talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I really like that, because you've got that little bit of exclusivity of, I've actually got one of these tickets. All right, I'm going to go.
There's probably
40,000
of them printed.
Oh, yeah. Every single person gets one. But it's okay, you've had a good chat, and it's here you go. Come back and have a free beer with us.
And it's good because the person's giving them out is a bit of hey, want to take care of you, man. It's been good chat. Love the interest you got in here you go. And so it's been, there's an element there of a bit of a reward for stopping past, and they get a bit known for that. So people sort of go in there and have a chat to them and that sort of stuff, but that's cool. That gets more people to your stand. So I think there's an element of the build up to it. And so being able to announce those things in the lead up to, like you were talking about, being able to sort of blitz hey, come and see us and this sort of gear. But I saw in the lead up to this show, so many posts about, hey, come and see us, and no value offered.
Yep.
Right. And if you're a particularly fan of their products or their business or something, okay, cool, we'll go and see them. But I was going to go see them anyway. Yeah. Your Facebook post didn't make me go and see it.
Yeah.
You didn't offer me any reason. And so one of that particular company who did a post like that, right, who's hey, come along, they actually had one of their technicians on display showing their process of developing product, right? Now, this is or testing product. This is a unique one in the industry that they are renowned for it, and it's a very unique process, and it's never really been put on public display much. If they had said, hey, come along to our stand and we're going to run people through how we do our inspections on our products, prepare for something to shock you, man, I would have been there. I was going there anyway for me, but others would have looked at that and gone, what on earth is that? I'm going to that.
Yes.
Or even a little snippet of what they do, because visually it's and from a sound point of view, I mean, you saw it. You're
I know the product you're talking with, and you can build that up to this big sound, and that would have everyone hit in going, what did they just do? Exactly. I need to see this now.
Exactly right. So I think that there's opportunity there. But if you're building some sort of value or some sort of interest, they're offering a little bit more than the next guy, and that's super, super important. So that the stands that I saw do really well. Some guys will stand on their own merit of a good product and that sort of gear, but the stands that really blew up with people ticked a few of those boxes. Now, how efficient they were, how good they were for the company and long-term business comes down to how they maximise that exposure of people coming to this stand. But if the brief is, hey, get more people to the stand, there's a couple of ideas, and that can work for a trade show in the US, but also for here. So I think that is a useful way to be. The other one, I guess it is a line, but it can be one of those things like, hey, if you come up to the stand and you say this, that old tactic of like say this when you get there, the special code or the code word or something like that, and you get this free sticker or something that's only given out. And then there are elements of that where there's these certain patches you're given or stickers you're given and stuff like that. Being able to play that up again, one, that's an instant reaction of how many people did we reach and how many people came. Like we gave out 800 stickers. All right, well that cool.
Oh, this many people stopped through
because and had seen that, like this many people stopped through, knowing the in story and how to apply that.
Yeah, I think there was bringing back that whole putting your product on display and actually demonstrations for people. There was a couple of companies that I saw that were. They were quieter. They were a bit quieter. And they for them, going down that path of, hey, we've got this really good product and it is an amazing product. Come and actually check it out. Come and see what it does. We'll show you how it does. Even when you get people into your booth, people that just come by and have a look, be like, hey, do you want to have a look? Like, do you want me to show you how this works? Having that little bit of initiative to go and, see that someone's looking at it a bit and being like, hey, do you want me to show you how this works?
Yeah.
People going, yeah, okay. And actually seeing going,
should say
that's really good.
On top of that influencers thing, not just that element. Like there's one stand who bring like 2 or 3 industry experts in twice a day to do a talk for half an hour and do Q&A sessions. And they work extremely well as well because that's again value adding plus sort of little bit of influencer celebrity sort of deal going on because they're known names. So there is a few things there to be able to build that out.
Yeah, I think there's a few of those are dependent too. There's depending 100%. What you're dealing with, whether you're selling a product or whatever you're doing, there's different tactics you can employ. 100%.
So moving on from that, because that was a great show. It was a good experience and unique and some rad stuff that has come out of it. The other thing that we came back and then working through back in the business world, January and February in my other business is generally fairly quiet, and so we've had some time to look at our marketing and strategy and stuff like that. And one of the things we realised is that a lot of our posts, and probably distraction from because we're so closely connected to what we do here. The distractions of trying to get a certain amount of content planned and processed, and particularly because we're away and all that sort of gear, we always try and deliver value in our posts, and that had lost its shine over the last month or two. Where it became obviously trying to meet a quota of posts, perhaps is a way of putting it. And start putting up like a photo of a product and be like, hey, these products are in stock, or hey, how good is this product? Have you checked out this product, or have you done this, right? And these posts are easy to make.
They're easy to make, but it gets very salesy very quickly.
It does. And it gets further away from that goal of, hey, we want to like provide education stuff. And I had a really good conversation with someone over in the US about some books and some ideas and some strategies. And it was not new and fresh. It was you should pull your head in and go back to actually what you believe in for this sort of stuff. And one of the things was creating content to amuse, educate, and I've forgotten the answer.
Is it one? Inform, amuse, educate?
It was educate, amuse, and something else. Oh, I'm going to look it up because it is actually really, really good. And these are inform, amuse, engage. That's the word I'm listening.
That's the one.
Engage. I wasn't engaged enough in my notes, but that is it. And so I've sort of had a chat since we've been back and gone, right, we need to shift this focus back to where it was because we were doing it really, really well. And it led to some discussions about making your content easy to create. And so putting some structures in place where you're like, okay, putting a photo up and saying, hey, these products are in stock, check them out, is super easy because it requires one photo and a couple of words. Right?
And it jumping into that, it does have its place at the appropriate time.
Not saying, but if you're like looking at a 7-day schedule
Yeah.
Rather than being 6 of those posts and 1 educating, it should be 6 educating posts and 1 sales post.
Yes.
Right? In terms of a balance side of things. So, the challenge was set. We had a few already planned that were probably more of those captions, and I know you rewrote a few captions. I suggested 1 or 2 of just taking that same photo, and rather than being like, "Hey, this product is in here," like, what would you partner this product with, with this item up with? So much more about like, "Hey, come and check this out and buy it from us because we need you to buy it because that's how you stay in business." 2, that realization that the majority of people that are actually watching your content aren't ready to buy.
Yeah. Otherwise, they would have brought it.
Yeah. They're a huge amount. They want to be entertained. They want to be amused. They want to learn more. And so you're allowing them to make some better decisions. So we've done that. And then the other big focus has been within those businesses, how do we make this content relatively easy to create? Sort of setting that baseline. So we've discovered some ideas on you sell this category of product, and there's probably about 2,000 SKUs in that category, right?
Yeah.
And
a lot.
And there's a lot, right? And we can make a video on every single product, which is the goal. And there is a bunch of technical detail about each individual product, which is interesting to know, and constituted enough to make a video and infographic about each particular product that can be both used as social posts and also used on the website as references, without being like, "Hey, you should buy this product." It can be like, "Hey, this product has these features and this technical data and this and this and this, and this would be what we'd suggest for it. Stay tuned for more information on more of these products." And because these products are all very samey, it's good to have some information and clarity around the difference between them.
Yeah.
And so,
and even bringing that little tips and tricks and be like, "Oh, this is good for X, Y, and Z."
yeah. And so being able to replicate this particular style of video with relatively low effort, but it does deliver value. It also, because you're dealing with lots of manufacturers of these same sort of products, they all put the information out there differently.
Yes.
So it's being able to draw that information and standardize it within our branding, within this company's branding, and with the same branding on there. And you're like, "Hey, this information is consistent across the entire product range of 15 different manufacturers."
Yeah.
So you can compare apples with apples with apples with apples.
That also leads to then you can do all your individual stuff and then you can do a comparison. So you can put, 3 products that are very, very similar. Yeah. Like, cool, this is the technical stuff for each. They all do this same purpose. Yeah. There you go.
The reality is so in that company, I've challenged the sales guys to standardize that data across our website. So because one, their time and effort to update the website with all that information standardized rather than sort of being reliant on brand so much means that we offer better information on our website. Then 2, it can be fed through to our media team, captivating attention, to be able to put that stuff into those particular formats for publication, which can then drive that. And that is one sort of consideration of probably about 10 different ideas that got sort of birthed out of that discussions of having repeatable, relatively easy. I mean, we can set up one little filming area.
Yeah.
And we can, if we wanted to, if we were ready for it, we could probably knock out 100 of those in a day.
Yes.
Yeah. They're a minute. Yeah. There's not heaps of them. Yeah, they're relatively easy to go through. And so, and they will actually, if you're watching it and you're in that market, you'll be like, yeah, this is useful information.
Yeah.
Right.
And it is that type of content where you don't want it to be different across the board. You want the set to be the same. You want it to be familiar and just you're focused on the technical detail, not trying to find what is happening in the video.
Throw back to our last episode with just you and I, though. One of the things we talked about with captivating attention is when we looked at our feeds, they were very samey. Right. Yeah. And so one of the things that this sort of idea, if you were just going to do this idea, make these particular videos about this category of your products, all your videos would look the same from day to day, or all your posts would look the same, right? Which is not the goal. The goal is, we can bank a whole stack of these videos, but as I said, this is one of about 10 ideas that we can do a similar thing in. And then we just post one from each idea per day over the week. So yeah, there is change and separations and flexibility with those sort of particular posts where we're doing something different every day, but look at it over a week or 2 week period. We got a bit of a pattern going on.
It's something that you can set up if you're one of those people that goes by the grid of your feed.
Yep.
You could have it so that every, all the videos on the right side of your feed are this type of video. You fill the rest in with other stuff, but it's, people know, and if they are that interested and want to go through all the previous details, jump onto your feed and they're like, cool, tap this one, go back, next, and they just work their way down that particular line.
Yep. So I would encourage you to think about the different what your we'd almost call it low hanging fruit without wanting to cheapen it and lessen it.
Yep.
Right. There's an opportunity to really delve deep into some content production, but being able to and one of the things, one of the rooms downstairs in this building for one of the other companies, we have in the process of designing, and that sounds way overcomplicated. What it is. We have 4 walls in this room, in that room. We now have 4 sets.
Yeah.
We're going to slightly tweak just the layout of the furniture and equipment in that room so we can point at all 4 different walls. And so the wall to the north is always going to be this style of video.
Yep.
So when you see that background or that thumbnail, you know it's going to be a video that's more technical in nature. When it's to this particular wall, which is the eastern wall, that one there with the little set that we've made up with just some things in the background of racking or some shelving or some products or whatever.
Something unique to your brand.
That is more product orientated. The one to the south, and we're not don't get me wrong, we're not designing sets or anything particular here.
Yeah, well, the main set is pallet racking that has product on it.
Yeah,
and it's very relevant to the business, and it doubles up as cool. There's always going to be products on there.
Yeah. And then to one side, we have some of the tools that we work with. So we're actually going to put up something on the wall and hang a few of those tools so they're a bit more at a visual height. So that's the extent of this set design. Yeah. And it's still practical for where it is. That's now one of the other sets. And so this is utilizing the setup we have here, and the lights can stay in the room and just get thrown to a different point in the room as they get, as we go through.
It's one of those things you can be, if you do have a small space, if you are strategic with it and have a bit of a look around, you can place a light in a spot that it is that simple that you rotate to this, and this, and there's your sets lit.
That's right. So not relying on a ton of gear, not building all these 4 different sets. Oh my gosh, I can barely build one.
Well, it's like here we've got this in the background and it's a cool, nice set piece, but this is designed very much around practical use.
Yeah, you open those drawers, there is junk all in through those drawers. Organised junk, but the junk is there. And so for another, if we go in, and you guys haven't seen it yet, but if we go down the other end of this room, it's an entirely different podcast set and also a separate, with a tweak, video set that we have filmed in for other brands. And that's a permanent setup that we move this bench down there and it becomes a different.
And literally just rotated everything around.
Everything.
And go.
And there is not that particular set is the most setup of everything that we do here. But it is not too difficult. So I guess the idea is if you can come up with a couple of key sort of ideas that you can do relatively easy. You might be able to do a bunch of video. You might be able to do 3 months worth of videos for each of these 4 ideas you have. That is 4 posts a week that you can do that are all different enough. And then on top of that, a couple of photos and this throughout and the sales post, which is super appropriate from time to time. So don't be afraid to do that. So we're going to, I guess we may showcase some of these ideas in due course. But
Yeah. I've got one other point because this is something I heard from someone the other day and went, I'm going to implement this because I think that is great. Is for that if you are a smaller business and your time is short and there's days where you just don't feel like being behind a camera
or in
front of a camera. It happens. This strategy that someone I listen to employs is, all right, there's a day that maybe you're not feeling it. All right, spend the day and just write some notes. Mm-hmm. Write your key talking point that you want and do that for 10, 20, 30, however many videos you want to do. And just slowly start drawing some notes out on each of them. And you don't want to talk to anyone. Cool. Save that all there for when you you have a day and you're like, cool, today's the day. Like,
I've
I'm gonna
had
go film some
15
stuff.
gins. I'm ready to film. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
On that day when, rather than you get to that point and you go, cool, I want to film some stuff, but now I've got to come up with new ideas. Well, when you didn't want to be in front of the camera, you went and jotted down 40 pieces of content.
Yep.
Here it is.
To build on that as well, so one of the guys here wouldn't be comfortable on camera at all, and probably would never actually get on camera. I've seen him run out of shots before, and two, initially would really struggle as well. Now, if something he wanted to do, certainly embrace it, but I don't think he wants to do it in the slightest. Yeah. But he's spent the last 2 days actually building some of this technical data, so that when we get to the point of filming these videos next week or in the week after, all that stuff's on tap.
Yeah,
I just look up, see all the work he's done, go, right, deliver it to camera, whoever, in your organisation, whoever's half decent at delivering to camera, going to tell these things to camera, but he's actually done, the work can be separated out. I didn't need to know that. They're literally, in this instance, they're numbers.
Yep.
And so I need to repeat those numbers in some sort of context. No doubt they'll be put up on screen as well. And but being able to sort of, if you've got some people working for you, perhaps you're like, they're never going to be on camera, I'm not going to write a script or anything along those lines. They can provide that technical data.
Yeah.
And that can be very useful, so you can go and reference. And he's sort of he's scrolled through websites to get all this information, to put it all in this sort of standardization that we've created. So when I go to film it, I'm not just going to film one video because I've only had a chance to actually research one of these products. I have enough information in front of me that I could film. We could go into 50 videos tomorrow.
Yeah.
All that information is there from the last 2 days. So being able to leverage your team, being able to leverage if you use any of the services of like now I've forgotten because I haven't used them for a while, but the often getting people overseas to help you out to sort of scrape data or do this or fill in data, being able to do that so you can then rely on that data. Of course, you got to make sure it's correct and bits and pieces, but in doing so, you can then effectively read your website out. To some degree, there is an element of it. Yeah.
There's that I found it handy for myself I had to film a video downstairs the other day with something I'm not actually that familiar with, but having just the key points, knowing that that's the crux of it, and you just fill in the rest around it, and you go, cool, I'm going to pick 3 of those. You pick 3 of those things, you deliver that to the camera. Cool. Yep. There's a pause, have a look down, go, all right, there's the next 3, delivered, done.
Yeah.
And all that was just, a couple of dot points. Here, and here. This is the line you need. This is the line you need.
Absolutely. So, Josh, we need to set a focus for the next to review in the next episode in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
Do you have something particular that comes to mind, or do you want me to throw you a curveball that I know we've talked about?
I kind of wanted you to throw the curveball.
Cool. Instagram. So we've said on this podcast multiple times that Instagram is dead.
Still stand by that.
I am still standing by that. However,
I find that funny though, because I still scroll through Instagram. I think the most out of everything.
I don't. I definitely don't. I barely open it. But we have nominated one of the brands that we work with internally as a focus for us for Instagram.
Yep.
So I'm going to look it up now. I'm going to find how many followers we have on that particular channel. And in a couple of weeks, when we record another one of these, we're going to review this number and see how that focus has been. And then I'm going to pick your brains how we either failed miserably at that or what number we got to. So we are on that channel currently at 1,161 followers with 711 posts.
Yep.
Today is being filmed on the 9th of February. So in 2 weeks' time, we will see that 1,161 followers improve, I hope.
Yeah. I think that one should be gauged on a few different metrics.
Okay.
So I think follower count is one thing.
Yep.
And then there is maybe working out the average engagement on how many people liked and actually engaged with your posts.
The mission is followers.
Mission is followers?
2 weeks, we want to see that follower rate increase. We can talk about engagement and have those stats at that point, but I want to see that follower number increase.
Yep.
So let's set the focus on how do we build followers on Instagram.
Is there anyone here that can dance?
There is someone here that can dance, but that's more TikTok than Instagram. But anyway, I'll let you.
No, I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll find about that later. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for the kicking off for 2023. One thing I do want to say, we're going to have a stack of guests this year, some really, really exciting guests. So
very excited for
that.
Stay
tuned for that. We have one more member of the team we got to introduce you guys to. Unless both of the have we put those both up? Members of the team?
No.
No, okay, so there's 2 more members of the team. One we recorded with, which will go up very soon, and then another member of the team, our most senior editor, actually.
Yes.
We're going to finally get him in front of a camera to talk a little bit about it. So looking forward to that. So if you've got any editing questions, hit us up with that one. That would be good.
Chuck them in the comments.
Until then, we will catch you guys all the best.
I would cheers you, but my glass is empty.
Yeah,
so.
Cheers. All right,
Cool.
Just do it anyway.
Just do it anyway.
Cheers.
Just for the sound.
That's it. See you guys.
Play the music.